Rather, I want to show you that a basic premise of understanding the principles of kosher eating is at the heart of the common misunderstanding of this most interesting narrative. This is so vital for us to grasp because in many respects, it is the conventional readings of Mark 7 that for Christian leadership helps to cement the parting of the ways between Judaism and the Constantinian Christian church. What is plainly biblical fact is diet is vitally important to God. It's part of how it's just part of how he intends for humans to live, to thrive. And the kosher eating is therefore not a trivial matter of personal choice. It's not an issue of cultural options. It might never have occurred to you, but the so-called original sin committed by Adam that brought death into the world involved food. Recall that there were trees in the Garden of Eden that bore edible fruit. Adam and Eve were given free rein to eat the fruit of all those trees, except for the fruit borne by a tree called the tree of knowledge and good and evil. You see, Christians for centuries have tried to make the tree itself as a metaphor for choosing good or evil. But in fact, the tree was literal, real, and it bore actual fruit. Rather, the tree of knowledge of good and evil is the name assigned to the tree. And sure, the name is a metaphor. Thus, God gave Adam and Eve a Torah that consisted of one commandment. How hard could that be to follow? And it might surprise you to notice that the one commandment was a dietary law. The first and only rule Adam and Eve were subject to involved what they could and could not eat. They were prohibited from eating the fruit from one particular tree, but they were permitted to eat the fruit of all the other trees. So if we want to understand just how serious God is about what his worshipers eat and just how foundational of a matter diet is in the Bible, remember that the original sin involved breaking God's dietary law. Long before there was a Hebrew people, long before there were Israelites, long before they were given the law of Moses on Mount Sinai. So to think that God only cares about what Jewish people eat and doesn't care about what others eat just simply regards biblical reality. Now, I want to be clear, however. No one can keep perfectly biblically kosher in the most technical sense in our era, because those laws often necessitate a functioning temple and a priesthood, neither of which exists today. However, avoiding what is clearly prohibited in the lists of acceptable and unacceptable foods for humans is easy. It's very straightforward. And I might add, hardly restrictive at all, since it mainly deals with meat and not produce. It was the Pharisees who first made their appearance around 160 BC that attempted to extend and amplify and add to those very few straightforward biblical laws about food in Leviticus 11. Now, one of the things they did was to make it that eating food that had become impure from something or another had the effect of making the body of the consumer of that food ritually impure. There is no biblical regulation by which eating kosher food has been defiled makes the body of the eater of that food defiled.